We've had the new branding from the Big Four patterns for almost a year now, maybe a little bit more than a year. And every time I do one of their first impression Fridays, inevitably a conversation starts in the comment section about it's just very polarizing. There are people who are like, oh my God, I used to sew McCalls all the time and I wouldn't be caught dead in these. Oh my God, Simplicity used to be my favorite and I hate all of these. And I think that now that the brands have so clearly identified who their target markets are, any notion of what you used to have about the brands should just be wiped clean. But I want to help you guys figure out kind of where you fit now. Before I get too far into kind of like my analysis and evaluation, I do want to talk to you about today's video sponsor, FamiSafe. FamiSafe is a mobile app that helps parents monitor their kids' online activity. Internet safety is so important, and sadly, your kids are targets. So parents need help to do more, and FamiSafe does just that. FamiSafe spots risky messages on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Kik, SMS, and WhatsApp, and Messenger. Once you connect your phone and your kid's phone to the app, you'll be able to rest easier knowing there's something out there helping you see what's going on when you're not looking. FamiSafe lets parents control screen time, track real-time location, and detect inappropriate content on kids' devices. They have a really cool program they are running right now that holds parents and kids accountable for their part in ensuring internet safety. Online safety is a partnership between parents and kids, and it's important for parents and kids to agree on the ways that personal devices and technology will be used. So FamiSafe has an online safety contract for parents and a separate one for kids. Each party signs their contract and makes commitments to their role in ensuring internet safety. And when the parent posts their contract to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you'll be entered to win a free 1-month license of the app. Once you post your contract, you'll also be entered to win an iPhone 12 mini. The app is free to download and costs as little as $3.25 a month for protection of up to 30 devices and access to all the features. It's such a small price to pay for peace of mind. So head to the link in the description box to watch a video that explains how prevalent and pervasive online dangers are. Then sign the parent's contract, talk to your kids about their contract, and have them sign too. Finally, share the contract to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to get the free license and enter to win the iPhone. I love you guys and you love your kids, so therefore I love your kids and just want to make sure each and every one of them is safe online. So check the description box for a link to FamiSafe. I want to preface all this by saying that the target demographics that I'm going to be mentioning with each brand are just generalizations. Obviously, if you are an old soul or you're young at heart or your style is just a little bit younger or more mature or more conservative or whatever it is, doesn't necessarily mean that you belong in one category or another. You should be focusing on what you like to wear, regardless of what the models look like, regardless of the target demographics I might mention. You do you, and you make what you like. What I'm going to be talking about is just sort of who I think that they are trying to reach, who I think they think the target customer is for that brand. I don't want there to be any conversation about you have to be this old to wear this, or you can only be young to wear that. That is not the case. And if anything that I'm about to say comes across that way, that is not what I mean at all. I'm only talking about what I think the target demographic is. And every brand in the world has a target demographic. They have an ideal customer. That's another keyword in marketing that they are trying to reach. If they reach people outside of that, great. But what they're trying to do is focus in their efforts and try and be as specific as possible so that whenever their ideal customer does come across their brand, whether it's online or in the world, it resonates with them and everybody's jiving and the communication and the visuals, they all are aligned. Okay. So first up, let's take a look at Simplicity. You have noticed it is very clear to me as you scroll through Simplicity's patterns over at least the last 2 collections, maybe longer than that. Simplicity is really just going after what their name implies. Simple. So on their sample garments, no prints, not a single stripe, not a dot, not a flower to be seen. Everything is very neutral also on top of that. So there's no bright colors, there's no coral, there's no, hot pink, there's nothing bright, nothing flashy, there's no shiny elements outside of maybe a little bit of sheen to the fabric, but they are all solids, they are all neutral colors, and they are all, for the most part, pretty matte. And when you look at the models, although I do feel like Simplicity uses a younger model than they are targeting, the models and how they are styled are all still very simple. We're talking modern hairstyles, like slicked back hairstyles, minimal makeup. The models have sort of like a unique look to them, not like your everyday girl next door look, something a little bit more like high fashion. And then how they style their models, which I also think speaks volumes to who they're trying to reach with their target market, is also very simple. There is little to no jewelry whatsoever. And then if it's like a top, they're pairing the top with just simple jeans. If it's a skirt, they're pairing the skirt with a very simple top. It's not even like they're trying to strike a balance between fancy and basic or simple. I don't want to say basic, but simple. It's just all simple all the time. So some brands that I feel like really hone in on this type of thing in ready to wear are brands like Eileen Fisher. If you're not familiar with Eileen Fisher, she uses the best fabrics, like the best. Go to like a Nordstrom and just feel all of her clothes. She uses all natural materials. It's like cashmeres and cottons and rayons and, things that are blended, and they all feel so, so, so good. But they're all solids. They're all pretty simple. There's no like crazy avant-garde type of design, maybe like a little twist here and there or a pleat here and there, but nothing really over the top. Never really gives in to the trends. You're not going to really see a puffy sleeve from them. You're going to have those classic pieces that you can reach for from now until the end of time. So Eileen Fisher's brand tends to be that woman who is either like old enough to like be in the workforce, but not entry level. Maybe a chic mom, you know what I mean? A mom that's like on the go. She's got a lot of things going on. Maybe she volunteers a lot. Maybe she's on some boards of some things, So not like, an early 20s type of person, but not necessarily someone who's 60 either. Definitely skews more toward the 60-year-old type of demographic, but someone who is in their early mid-30s might also find Eileen Fisher attractive, especially if they're into that clean, modern look. It's definitely a look, you know what I mean, to be so simple. But simple does not mean basic. Simple does not mean not fashionable. There are some really great details, especially in this spring collection. Go back and watch the First Impression Friday video on that, because I point out some of them. You just have to, if you're a person that wears print all the time, you have to kind of imagine it in a fabric that A, has some print to it, but also B, a lot of the fabrics that they're using here are very natural type of fabrics. So, if you're somebody that isn't really into the whole like linen natural look, you just have to imagine it in a fabric that you really love. But there are some really, really great details that do shine when you make them out of a solid matte fabric. All right, so that's Simplicity in my mind. Next, we can jump over to, let's go Butterick. Okay, So Butterick, to me, I don't know, they were all pretty drastic, drastic turns. Butterick, I feel like, might be one of the ones that took the biggest swing. Butterick was my go-to brand. I have so many more Butterick patterns than anything else. But Butterick now is definitely a more mature brand. Now, mature does not mean old. Mature means conservative. Mature means, not super into like the fad trends, the trends that are just a flash in the pan and they're here this spring and gone next spring. When you look at their designs, the designs are, in my mind, somewhere between like super, super simple Eileen Fisher, but also not like the crazy, full of trends like the kids these days like to wear. There are some nods to the trends. You do see like some puffy sleeves. You do see some flounces. You see some like collar details. They're definitely like, a nudge toward the trends, but not so much that once that trend goes away, everyone's like, whoa, what is that? Like, what's with her big humongous sleeve? That was so 2 years ago or whatever it was. It's a little more subtle, you know what I mean? Subtle toward the trends. There's also some classic pieces. If you remember from this past First Impression Friday video, a lot of the notched neckline, which I feel like is not as risque as a V-neck, but not as plain and simple as just a boring crew neck. The notch neck is like a little bit, she's showing a little bit of skin there. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. I imagine like, I don't know. It's hard to say because conservatism when it comes to fashion kind of runs the gamut. It could be your Sunday church dress, but it could also be like meeting the parents of your new boyfriend. And those life events happen to people of all ages. I will say their models are skewing a little toward the older side. We've got some salt and pepper hair in there, which I absolutely love. I'm not going to mess with my grays, so who knows what I'll end up being. But, and then we've got just some mature women, you know what I mean? Like these women are like executive level at their jobs. This is what I do when I look at these patterns. I think, what does she do for work? Does she have any kids? Is she married? I think that they're empty nesters or very, very close, and their kids are maybe like of high school age or have even graduated but might still be at home. The styling of the women is also very interesting because they chose a lot of French twists. Like, I haven't seen a French twist in real life in 20 years. Like, does anybody really still do a French twist? So that was really an interesting choice. But if their hair is down, it's down, but like in a soft curl, nothing too hard, nothing too edgy, very soft, very approachable, very nice, very like politician also, they just want them to feel like you can come up to them and you can, they just make you feel at ease. The jewelry is dangly. There are some like statement-ish jewelry pieces. Not a lot on the necklines, but in the earrings, definitely some dangly jewelry. And some of the women are even carrying clutches, which is an interesting choice for styling a garment sewing pattern. Obviously, like that's not necessary at all. But they're carrying little clutches, they're wearing high heels, those kinds of decisions make me feel like they are trying to reach someone who is settled in their life, who, has lived a whole life before this. And now when it comes to their clothes, they want to look polished, they want to look pulled together, but they don't want anything too trendy and they don't want anything too fussy. Yeah. That's my take on Butterick. Next up, we'll go to Vogue. Now, we have not seen a Vogue collection since winter holiday, so it's been a minute, but I think that Vogue is the one that's gonna stay as close to its original roots as possible. I think Vogue is such a sort of icon in the sewing pattern world where they, had all those like high-end designers, designing patterns for them. They've always been known for like high-end, really exceptional finishing details. Their very easy Vogue patterns are still, for the, not advanced, but definitely not for the beginner. And their patterns take a lot of time, you know what I mean? So I look at Vogue a little bit more like couture and ready to wear. I look at it like high fashion. I look at it not necessarily as everyday, but also not special occasion either. It's really for someone with that kind of lifestyle where they're going to a lot of special occasions, and maybe even just stepping outside their front door is a special occasion. Do you know what I'm saying? Women like that. I have quite a few Vogue patterns, but in my mind, they are all things that I make and wear for special things. And then I'm not talking like it has to be like a wedding or anything special like that, but like an important meeting or like, an anniversary or, just something special, something memorable, something that's just not every day. It'll be really interesting to see what Vogue comes out with for spring, considering styles these days have gotten so much more relaxed and casual because of the pandemic. Part of me feels like they will just dig in their heels and make what they've always made, and just know that like eventually one day these people will need to get out of their sweatpants and we'll have all these patterns ready for them when they do. But yeah, I mean, Vogue hasn't really jumped out at me here lately. And, also their stuff is not necessarily removed from the trends, but also not necessarily always a part of the trends either. They have a really wide variety of options when it comes to trends. Some of these sleeves are wackadoodle. Some of the jackets are very clean lined and modern, so they really do run the gamut. I just feel like more than anything, Vogue is the one that's like attention to detail. Vogue is the one that's going to look like $1 million when you're done with it, but you're going to spend twice as long sewing one of their garments than you would the same design from like a McCall's or a Simplicity. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm thinking like, whenever you find like the high-end stuff at your department store, or, what are those stores called that are like, remember in Pretty Woman when she was trying to shop in that one boutique, you make commission, right? That whole thing in a store like that, right? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking Vogue is. And then we have McCall's, and McCall's to me took a little bit of a departure from where they used to be, but I feel like McCall's has always been the one that has been the youngest. And I feel like they kept that going, with their new target market as well. So they are still and always have been targeting a younger demographic than the other three pattern companies. But I feel like now they just went head first and just clearly said, yes, this is our lane. Before there was like some patterns that were really young, like a lot of crop tops and a lot of lace ups and backless and all that. But then there were other patterns that like, people a little bit older would like too. But now they're like, nope, this is us. This is who we are. So I appreciate that. You have everything in here from like a leather pencil skirt, which if you think about it, that might be something like an up and coming PR girl would wear to an interview, or like a fashion girl would wear to an interview. You have some, like a lot of dresses and a lot of sleeves and big sleeves, which is just such a huge trend right now. So they are very, very trendy. They are on top of all of the trends. This last collection was very 80s inspired, which in and of itself is a trend, but then you add like the fabric print to it, and you add the big sleeves to it, and you add the ruffles to it, and now all of a sudden you've got like a trend on trend on trend situation. So they are go big or go home in the trend department. We also see some cutouts. We see like corseted type of stuff, which is, you know, pretty young, I think. I see kids these days wearing like, you know, high-waisted mom jeans with those like corset type of tops. That's like, you know, super trendy. For what it's worth, there's not a skinny jean in sight. I don't even see a side part. So you know that this is like a Gen Z situation here. So yeah, they have something for like everything that that person would do in their life. We've got like pretty much like a young person's version of a like two-piece suit, like trousers and a blazer. We've got jumpsuits, we've got dressy jumpsuits, casual jumpsuits. We've got dresses, obviously I said that, but we've also got two pieces with a skirt and a crop top. We've got silky tops, silky skirts, tops you can wear with jeans, tops you can wear with trousers, you know what I mean? I think that the McCall's girl just has so many different types of things going on in her life. Obviously, she's trying to make a name for herself at work. She's trying to come up the ranks, make an impression, but she's also probably going out after work, either with girlfriends or on dates. Her weekends are spent doing like, you know, things that you get dressed up for, like brunch, but also like kind of casual things like Netflix and chill and all that kind of stuff. So there are different opportunities, a lot more opportunities for the McCall's girl to need to have an outfit for many different occasions than any of the other brands. So to me, ready to wear comparisons would be stuff like Forever 21, or any of those like boutique type of clothing lines that are coming out now, just the e-commerce like Boohoo and Shein and all of those kinds of places. So that is who the McCall's girl is to me. The models are young. They're fresh-faced, beautiful skin, not a wrinkle in sight, no gray hairs. And the styling of the girls is also very interesting. So you've got a lot of high ponies, pulled back, sleek high ponies. You've also got a lot more accessories. So these girls are wearing sunglasses. They have on chunky necklaces, also stacked and layered necklaces, big hoop earrings. They've got on a variety of different shoes, but there's a mixture of like sneakers, of like chunky heeled, bright colored sandals, and then also some like strappier sandals too. So a lot of variety in the shoes. The bags are bigger than the Butterick bags, the Butterick girl bag. They are brightly colored. They're not neutral. They are like big bags, because again, the McCall's girl, she's got places to be. She's got to transition from, you know, coffee dates to work to after dinner drink to dinner to after dinner drinks. Like she needs to carry a lot with her to get her through the day. She is out from the crack of dawn until the sun goes down. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, if anything that you've learned throughout this entire video, it is just what the brands are trying to do with their styles and which one of those line up most with your personal style. Everybody's style is so unique to them. The brands are doing their best to try and narrow them down into little categories and little pockets, but obviously not everybody's gonna fit into those. And hopefully you were able to find maybe where you like which lane you fit in more so now than before, and hopefully you fit into more than one, because I don't think that we are all just one target demographic, you know what I mean? So that's gonna do it. Leave any comments or thoughts that you have on this topic in the comment section below. Again, we're trying to stay away from anything, you know, direct about age, because it's not really about age. It's more so about style and personality. So, you know, try and keep that in mind whenever you leave your comments. And of course, do not forget to check the description box for the link to the FamiSafe app talk with your kids about it. It really is an important thing for them to know that you know what's going on, and just, you know, help them stay safe out there. But that is going to do it for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.